Center for Innovation and Technology will hold its annual Healing and Reconciliation Film Festival, Asakhe Film Festival. The festival will take place from the 25th to the 30th of October. The theme for this year is the power of memory. Take a look, listen at this.
It's over. They are no more.
Wahamba enye, no yembe, no vesi, no scatula, no sogis.
And we are not even safe. Yeah, we are in Midlands. Slanging. No look in Katis. Kunabana Tabela Kulukuan.
Sabu twala sabu village.
Zenzele Ndebele is the director of CITE. He's also a journalist in Zimbabwe, and he's put together all that you have seen him and his team. Good afternoon to you, Zenzele. Always a pleasure chatting to you. Of course, this is based on the Gukurahundi massacre of the 1980s. Why is it so important for you to keep this memory alive, this painful memory?
Well, it is very important for many reasons, and mainly because a lot of people who were affected have not found closure. I mean, the clip that you just showed, it's a woman who lost her husband nearly 48 years ago, and she still talks about that he left without even shoes. And up to today, she doesn't know what happened to her husband. The kids don't know what happened to their father. And this is just one person out of the many thousands that disappeared in the early 80s. There are some people who still have not had proper burials for their relatives because their parents are buried in mass graves and they cannot rebury them because the government doesn't want them to. So the issue of Gukurahundi is still fresh in people's memories. It's still an issue that they want resolved. And the painful part is that they are not even allowed to commemorate these days and erect memorial plaques to remember their departed ones.
And why is that?
Mainly this is because the government doesn't want people to talk about it. You remember that for years, or let me say for years, the government of Zimbabwe denied that it killed over 20,000 people during the Gukurahundi genocide. Up till today, they refuse to take responsibility. They refuse to apologize. They refuse to compensate people. They refuse that it was a genocide. And above all, they refuse, they don't give permission to citizens to actually commemorate their dead. So I guess it's a continuation of the genocide. The government doesn't want people to talk about them. It thinks that the issue can only be resolved in its own terms. And the sad part is that those who are in power now were major players in the Gukurahundi genocide.
The aim for this film festival is to contribute to national healing and reconciliation efforts in Zimbabwe. How do you do that when one party completely ignores that something like this actually happened?
Well, when I realized, and we realized that one of the major issues why the issue of Gukurahundi has remained a material issue was because people did not have information. There was a lot of disinformation that happened during the Gukurahundi genocide. And the main issue was the 5th Brigade, which was the army that killed people, was deployed to deal with dissidents. But when we do research now, you realize that at their peak, there were less than 400 dissidents who killed less than 400 people. And these are dissidents that include the ones that were sponsored by Apartheid South Africa, Super ZAPU, and many other factions and the pseudo-dissidents that were sponsored by the government. But the 5th Brigade, when it was deployed, it killed way over 20,000 people, looking for 400 dissidents. The 5th Brigade that was deployed to deal with dissidents killed more people than the dissidents that they were looking for.
Unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. time is something we cannot afford. I heard something a couple of years ago that said, how do you know that you have healed? It's when you have a scar but it doesn't hurt anymore. But clearly for the people of Matebele land, this still hurts. So quite a lot of healing being done on this journey and on this process. We wish you all the best. Thank you very much, Zenzele Ndebele, joining us from Zimbabwe.